Yo, what's popping, everybody? What's popping? So, how am I going to do this? Right? How am I going to start? Okay, last night, or well, we might as well say 2 nights ago, because now we're in the next day. Right now, it's December 3rd, 2021. Uh, when it comes to the day that I'm actually recording this live stream. So 2 days ago, you might as well say 2 nights ago, on December 1st, 2021, I did a live stream titled "Should Males Adapt to or Avoid Certain Females?" And and the point of that live stream was a continuation of the debate that's been going on around the so-called black manosphere in regards to uh quote unquote hoes winning, right? So then me, being that the person that I am, my thing is that, okay, if hoes are winning, right? If whores are benefiting big time in this modern society in which they are, then I question some people that, okay, what can males do in order to put themselves in a winning position? Because males in this society, collectively, whether systematically or in the world of dating and marriage and relationships and what have you, they're on the losing end. So I question a specific person and ask them, what can males do to put themselves in a winning position for so they will no longer lose? And I was told, well, males should adapt. So therefore, I said, wait a minute, adapt. And so thus the video of my prior live stream, which was about 2 nights ago, was based on asking the question: should males adapt to or avoid certain females? In other words, should males adapt to these hoes that's winning? Should we adapt to it, or should we avoid them? Should we adapt to the environment that have created a situation of females who are whores winning and benefiting big time in society, or should we be aware of the environment for so we could be able to differentiate what type of females to avoid and what type of females that we should be around? What should we do? So that was the point of my video or my live stream 2 nights ago. And once I opened up the panel, that goddamn topic got derailed about 3 to 4 times. Hell, it probably got derailed more than that and reset it, like, and the conversation got reset so many times. And for the most part, I mainly blamed myself, because at the end of the day, I was the host of that live stream. Thus, I'm in the position of controlling every single thing that happens in that live stream. So therefore, I should have put a goddamn monkey wrench to all that shit and let people know that, hey, listen, this is not a conversation for that. So mainly I blame myself. So I take responsibility for that, because it was so the conversation got derailed so many damn times that it ended up becoming a conversation that had nothing to do with the topic of the damn video. Well, that's the point of a conversation being derailed. It got shifted to 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 then people discussing about what females are doing, what females got on their heads. Well, we shouldn't worry about what females have on their heads. Well, you're trying to control females, all this stuff. So it's like, okay, so here it is. This topic is mainly pointing at males. It's mainly asking for a solution as what can males do, being that we live in an environment where whores are benefiting big time in this society. What should males do? And instead of the topic of conversation being focused on the male gender, here we are focusing on the female gender. What type of shit is that? That's some bullshit. Yeah, I see that you live, Sheed. I see that you live. I was listening. As a matter of fact, I was listening to some of your live and stuff like that. You had what's going on, Tyrone Church. Yeah, Sheed. You had yeah, I know you have what's that dude? That cool dude that I like. What's this guy's name? Nameless Protagonist, man. That dude's cool. Nameless Protagonist. And you had what's that girl's name? A Reigning Woman. You know, what's good, Tyrone? What's good? All right, so back to what I was saying. So here we got motherfuckers walking around worrying about what the fuck females are doing. So therefore, the attention got shifted away from the males, and the attention started to shift to the females on that live stream last 2 nights ago. And I don't like that. I do not like when the topic gets derailed. I hate that. And not only that, but okay. In the beginning, when I first opened up the live stream, and the first people came on the live stream, you know, once again, we was discussing what should males do, being that they live in a society where whores are benefiting. Should they, quote unquote, adapt to the environment, or adapt to these types of females, or avoid these females? So my position is that males should avoid these types of females, because common sense will tell you that whores are not beneficial to a male's life. Outside of giving a male, outside of sexual access and sexual pleasure, there's nothing that a male can benefit from a whore. So there's no reason for a male to sit down and adapt to that type of environment. No, you have to avoid that type of female. Do people even understand the definition of adapt? You know, when I posted that video, there's a reason why in that avatar, that video avatar, I highlighted the definition of adapt. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I highlighted, or I put the video avatar highlighting the definition of the term adapt. Because you guys don't understand. I don't think some of you guys really comprehend what you guys mean when you speak about adapt. Because remember, to adapt, the definition to adapt is to make yourself suitable for a specific environment or specific thing, or to change for so you could fit into a certain thing. So when you say that male should adapt, the way that I perceive it, when people say, well, hoes are winning and males should adapt to that, how I perceive it is that males should adjust themselves, should make themselves suitable to a society that allows whores to benefit. So wait a minute. If that's the case, if I'm right, because like I said, that's my perception of that when I hear people say males should adapt. Once again, I perceive it as people stating that males should make themselves suitable for to fit in a society that's allowing whores to benefit big time. So if my perception is correct, then that's going to result in the whores continuing to win and the males continuing to lose. Because if you make yourself suitable or make yourself fit into a society that someone else is benefiting from, then all you're doing is further putting yourself in a position where someone else is benefiting. All you're doing is enabling the the group of people, in this case hoes, to further benefit from your ass. So I disagree with that. My position is that one must understand the environment. One must have awareness of the environment that they currently in. As far as in this case, males should have an awareness of the society that they live in and utilize that awareness to be able to decipher the types of females that this environment create and know how to spot them out for so they could know what to avoid and then avoid them. Because when you avoid hoes, you avoid the many, many, many negative results that comes with being with whores. This is common sense. This is not hard. So these are the things that I was talking about in my prior live stream. But then when I brought these things out, one of the responses that I was given was that how males are not going to avoid holes. Males not going to avoid holes, or there are plenty of males that's not going to avoid holes. And then my thing is, I'm like, hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute. I find it funny how in this space, whenever you bring out a solution, right? And an effective solution, you always have people that trying to shut that solution down. And it's no offense to that person who brought that out. Third War Colombians, no offense towards you, but I just have an issue with someone bringing that argument out. It's because okay, it's because I thought this space was about solving the problems that males go through. That's what I thought this space was about. So if we're discussing solutions on how males can benefit in society, why are we focused on talking about how many males would not, execute that solution? And not only that, but of course, me as a grown ass man, you know, I'm very much aware that if I bring a solution, of course, there's going to be a populace of people who are not going to abide or take heed to that solution. And guess what? I don't give a fuck. It's always going to be that. That's common sense. So there's no reason for someone to even mention that. That's like sitting here mentioning the sky is blue when that's common sense. It's so obvious that we don't even need to waste our time to discuss how the sky is blue. So when it comes to a solution, it's very obvious that not everybody is going to abide by that solution. That's very obvious. But the thing is, we're not supposed to sit there and waste our energy and focus on the populace of people who will not abide by a solution. Because if they don't abide by the solution, then whatever consequence that they face as a result of that, that's on them. I don't give a fuck for them. If you are a male in today's society and you don't avoid hoes, then I don't give a fuck about you. And whatever consequence you suffer as a result of choosing to have relations with hoes, it's totally your fault. So when I bring out a solution, or if anybody bring out a solution, the last thing we should focus on are the ones who won't abide or take heed to the solution. That's the last thing we should worry about. We should put focus on how to solve a problem. See, the thing is, when it comes to a solution, like I said before, it's common sense that not everyone will obey, or I won't say, but let me say about won't take heed to the solution. But the goal of a solution, which is common sense, but the goal of a solution is to put it out there for those who are looking for one. So to sit there and focus on, well, in regards to this topic or the topic of the video 2 nights ago, so this, for us to sit down and focus on focus on holes, focus on the many males that won't take heed to the solution is a waste of time. I don't give a shit. I don't care. And it's not something we should care about. The solution's out there for those who are looking for it. We should not waste our energy focusing on how many people won't abide by it, how many people will continue to go ahead and make the wrong decisions. That's on them. You know, as a grown ass man, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, you should already know that there are some people who are just not going to listen. I don't care about that shit. Oh, let me read the comments. Hold on for a minute. What's going on, y'all? Jersey Hammer says, because folks don't want to talk about male discipline and stopping scoring on goals against ourselves. Exactly. You said you just got to run game on them and alpha your way through it. Exactly. Avoiding ain't an option to many people. Right. Yeah. Shalom. What's up? Digital Thug, what's up? Third Ward, what's up? I'll just bring to light the fact that it's a lot of men in this space and in real life who talk about men's rights and avoiding sometimes women, but a lot of these men fall weak for those women. So, okay, Third Ward. So that's their fault. If that's their fault, I mean, that's very obvious that there are males who do that. That's their fault. If that's their fault, I mean, it's very obvious. You know, no offense, but I'm just keeping that shit real. You know, and that's one thing. It's like, okay, when it comes to providing a solution, the last thing we should do is waste our time focusing on the populace of people that refuse to abide by that solution. That's on them. I don't give a shit about that. I give a shit about putting the solution out there, and whoever will abide by it, they'll abide by it. Whoever refuses to abide by it, that's on them. That's it. But the fact of the matter is, the solution is put out there for anyone who wants to abide by it. You know, not you know, not every drug addict. Let me give you guys a little metaphor. Not every drug addict is going to seek drug treatment, and people that run drug treatment centers understand that. So, do you think the people that run drug treatment centers are sitting there focusing on the many drug addicts who won't go and find help? No. You know what I'm saying? The people that run the drug treatment centers or the different uh, 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 um or nonprofit organizations or city governments who open up drug treatment centers, they open them up for those who are seeking treatment, who are seeking help, that hey, it's available for you. Same thing when it comes to alcoholics. It's very obvious not every alcoholic is going to go to AA, but for the many organizations or city governments that run alcohol anonymous centers, They understand not everyone's gonna not every alcoholic is going to go to AA, but for those who want to get help, those who want to rise above their addiction to alcohol, guess what? Guess what? Help is available for you. That's the whole point of a solution. So when we discuss solutions, there's no reason for us to waste our time concentrating or um speculating on who won't abide by that solution. Some will, some won't. That's just the way it is. Let's focus on the solution and the effectiveness of that solution. And that's how a true solution oriented person thinks. Because I'm a solution oriented individual. And when you bring that type of shit to a solution oriented individual, that becomes annoying. That's like being very annoying. And another thing I will discuss, my other problem with that video that I made that I was turned off by, because it was definitely a turn off, right? Okay, Big J Triple X, Big J Triple X, you my man, 100 grand, right? I fucks with you hard body. But one thing I didn't like is when you came on the panel screaming at people. All right, I don't like that shit. That's a form of disrespect. And you got enough sense to know better to not sit there and scream at grown men. Listen, it doesn't matter how you feel about a certain individual. It doesn't matter how much you feel about their argument. You know, you have your right. Everyone have a right to disagree. I have no issues with a person coming on. If I have a live stream, open up the panel. I don't have any issue with a person coming to the panel and debating another person's talking points. I have no issues with the person coming on the panel and challenging another person's talking point. But you have to do it with respect. You can't just come up on the panel and start rah, 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 screaming and yelling that shit. Nah, I don't like that shit. And I should have said something right then and there. But me looking back, I didn't like that shit. Nah, Big J, you could always come on my panel. If I open up the live stream, you could always show up. But you can't come and start screaming and yelling at people. I don't like that shit. I mean, and I get how you felt when it comes to a specific person's opinions, like some of the opinions that the man had, right? But you should not. I do not tolerate someone coming through and yelling at a person. Nah, I don't tolerate that. You know, shoot, and nah, mm-mm. You know, and when it comes to the man, oh boy, the man. Now, one thing that I wanted the man to show was that list that he had. The list when it came to you guys know the list that he has. I'm trying to remember the title that he gave. Well, the list when it comes to the warning signs that a male must look for in a female when he first approach her. I wanted him to bring that list up because that list exemplifies the actual topic of discussion in my prior live stream when it comes to whether or not males should adapt to or avoid certain females. Because what the man provide in that list is standards, is a certain set of standards that males should have. And you know what? And if someone disagrees with that list, then of course common sense. What I mean, you could disagree with it. I don't have a problem disagreeing with it. I mean, I agree with 95% of that list. But what the man exemplifies is males at least having some sort of standard and living by it for so you could be able to avoid a female that could potentially be non-conducive to your well-being. You don't have to have that similar list that the man has. You don't have to have the similar standards that the man has, but you have to have a standard. So that's why I had no issues with him bringing out that list, because it exemplified what I was trying to portray or what I was trying to argue in my prior live stream. But people had issues with it. People had issues with it. I don't know why. But my issues with the man is when he kept going on and on and on and on, speaking about females spending money on aesthetics and how supposedly so-called black females spend a total of $1.5 trillion on aesthetics. Now, I haven't done the research on that, so I can't say whether it's true or false, right? But the thing is that what turned me off about that, and it's no offense against the man, is that talking about that, all that shit does is just reset the conversation, and at the same time, it derails the conversation. Because once again, it shifts the conversation away from the actual topic. The actual topic is about what males should do, what decisions males should make in an environment where a large percentage of the opposite sex are whores. What males should do. And here we are, we speaking about weaves and shit. Come on, man. And that's a losing battle. It's like the man has to understand is that females that it's like the man has to understand is that you cannot sit there and worry about shit that you have no control over. I mean, we have, and once again, this is coming from a brother who hates seeing sisters wearing weaves on their heads and wigs and all this shit, right? But at the same time, I'm objective enough and realistic enough to know that as much as I hate weaves, I will not and cannot stop any female from wearing some fucking wig on top of their heads. So I'm not going to sit there and dwell on some shit that I know I have no control over. And like Big J Triple X said, that there's that so-called black males have bigger fishes to fry than some motherfucking wigs and shit. But at the end of the day, this is an example of the greater black manosphere, because here it is that this is a space that we're supposed to be helping the so-called black male, right? But then we're so caught up on talking about so-called black females. So then you know what that does as a result? It neglects the needs and the solutions for so-called black males when you focus so much on females. And that's what I saw when it came to my live stream 2 nights ago. I saw that the topic shifted so much by paying attention to females that the needs of males was neglected. And that's what we do at a high volume within this space. And people don't understand that. People don't understand that when you just focus so much on females this, females that, what females doing, what females are saying, what females are thinking, that okay, you have a whole demographic of males who are marginalized. I'm speaking so-called black males, a whole demographic of people, aka so-called black males, who are who are at the bottom of the barrel economically, socially, and politically. And their needs are not being met, their needs are not being talked about because the space that was built to talk about their needs is so busy worrying about females. When females, especially so-called black females, have more than enough organizations that's focusing on their needs. You know, uh, black girl rocks, black girl magic, Black Lives Matter, Black Lesbian Club, whatever the fuck these goddamn uh, uh, um organizations that they have. So-called black females and the female collective in general have more than enough organizations, have more than enough entities, more than enough foundations focused and have money invested on their needs. So when we in the so-called black manosphere are focusing on them, we're being no different than the rest of society when we are abandoning the needs of black men and boys. And once again, I saw that when it came to my live stream 2 nights ago. It's fucked up. And once again, I blame a lot of it on myself because once again, I'm the host of the panel. And as the host, you're in the position to control any everything that happens on the panel. You know, see, the thing is with me is that, when I host a live stream, I'm sitting there having to pay attention to like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things at a time. So when you sitting there multitasking and paying attention, well, me, I don't know about you guys, what was me, I'm the type of person when I'm sitting there paying attention to so many things at a time. I'm paying attention to the comments in the comment section. I'm paying attention to the things that people are saying. I'm paying attention to, and I'm sitting there paying attention to, watching as like a guard dog and making sure people don't interrupt another person while the other person's speaking. I'm looking at the time to see how much time people are speaking, and telling them that, hey, listen, you got only this many time left in order to finish saying what you have to say before I pass the microphone. So I'm sitting there paying attention to a whole lot of other things, to the point of the fact that a lot of the conversations at that time that I'm live streaming don't really sink in until I sit back and watch the live stream all over again on the playback. So when it comes to that, and I'm just being honest, when it comes to me multitasking as the host of the live stream, like certain things, like I said, certain things don't sink in until afterwards when I watch the replay, because it's all this multitasking I'm fucking doing, and a lot of the multitasking would be unnecessary if people in the panels just knew how to not interrupt other people while another person is speaking. And that's another issue that I'm having. I keep telling you guys, when you come on my streams, do not interrupt someone while they're speaking. And I get that sometimes we interrupt someone unintentionally. Sometimes we do it without knowing. Sometimes two people could speak at a time, not knowing that, hey, the other person was trying to speak. Or sometimes it could be a thing with technology where sometimes you might not hear another person, or it might be a delay. So you might interrupt someone unintentionally. I get that. But when you have a situation where people are constantly trying to interrupt the next person, I'm constantly trying to stop them. So that means that there's no mistake. You guys are purposely interrupting people while the next person is speaking. Yo, dog. So now I have to be extra cautious of that. So it's like, yo, and it's like, you guys don't listen when I tell you guys don't interrupt people while they're speaking. And Big J, you, no disrespect to you, but Big J, you was doing that a lot on my live stream, on that specific live stream. You was constantly interrupting people while they were, and other people was doing it too. Not only you, Big J, but other people on the live stream was doing it too. The man, you was constantly interrupting also. Okay, so yo, dude, I don't tolerate that shit. One person speaks at a time on my panel. You guys have to have the ability to control yourself and wait until the next person finishes speaking before you can reply and say something. And when you have people trying to interrupt all the time, you know, I have to sit down like between grown men, and some of y'all in that live stream is older than me. And I have to sit down and regulate when, as grown men, y'all should have that embedded. Y'all should have self-discipline and order embedded within inside of you, for so you won't interrupt another man while they're speaking. I have to constantly tell someone throughout that whole live stream, yo, hey, stop doing that. Stop interrupting him while he's speaking. You know, let him speak. Stop doing that. Come on, man. Y'all have to have more self-control than that. Because if not, listen, I'm starting to think that maybe, you know what, I should stop opening the damn panel and just keep the live stream with just me speaking. Because I don't like that shit when I open up the panel, because I enjoy having the discussions with different people. You know, I enjoy having it. But at the same time, I'm a man of order. I'm a man of structure. So I respect order. And I expect anyone that come on my panel to respect order also. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't be coming on in the first place. And that's why on my community tabs, when I made that statement, talking about that, saying that video, that live stream was on some nigga shit, that's one of the things that I consider some nigga shit. When you constantly interrupting somebody while they're speaking, that's some nigga shit. It can also be considered some female shit, because females usually have a habit of interrupting other people while they're speaking. But I still consider that some nigga shit too, because that's some ignorant shit to do. You know, I get it that people feel strongly about their opinions. And I get it that if someone says something that you don't agree with, you know, you feel so passionate about your stance that you just want to just attack that opinion. But no, you have to have some sort of self-control and some sort of order to let the person finish speaking before you respond. And it was to the point of fact that people was trying to go back and forth within that live stream, to the point of fact that other people within the stream didn't get a chance to talk as much as they probably would like. Like Auntie, shout outs to Auntie. You know, Auntie was sitting there he was waiting patiently for a while before he started speaking, because other people would just want to keep on going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And once again, I blame it on me, because me being the host of the panel, I'm mainly responsible for a person who comes on the panel, for a new person who arrived on the panel, to have their turn to speak, for so they won't have to wait a long time before they say something. So once again, that's my fault. So I blame myself, but I also blame the other people that keep going back and forth, keep trying to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and not having enough courtesy to allow someone to allow a person who just arrived on the panel to speak. And same thing, Aizen Sama and Third War Colombian, a lot of times they didn't get their chance to speak as much as they would like because people kept going back and forth on some bullshit, man. I'm not allowing that shit anymore, man. I'm not allowing that shit anymore. I'm not allowing for people to keep going to a constant back and forth. Well, I'll take that back. I will allow that, but but on a structured, but doing it a structured way. But doing it a more structured way. A lot of people, or a few people, they said they liked the live stream. They liked it. And hey, listen, if you like it, that's fine. If you like that live stream, that's fine. If you felt that was a classic live stream, that's fine. I have no control over what you guys find to be good. I don't have any control over what you guys find to be entertaining. So if that's your opinion, that's fine. But me, I found that live stream to be very distasteful. Because the way certain people behave in that live stream, I just didn't like that. I felt that was some nigga shit, and I don't want to tie myself to no nigga shit. So as a result of all this shit going on in that live stream, guess what? The needle haven't moved a bit. The needle haven't moved a bit. What do I mean by the needle? I'm speaking about the progression within the conversation. Black male progression. Because my whole point of that stream was focusing on moving the needle or progression. How do we progress to the next stage? I was focused on progressing to the next stage. I was focused on advancing to the next stage. How could males advance to the next stage? Because within the conversation, when it comes to hoes are winning, you still have so many people within the space just focused on whether or not hoes are winning, whether or not hoes are winning. But meanwhile, the so-called black male is losing. So regardless if you feel that whores are winning or whores are losing presently in society, my thing is this. We all know that the so-called black male is losing. That's something we could all agree on in this space, that the black male collective is in a losing position. So how could we win? Yes, whores are winning in this society. It's very obvious, right? But now we know that whores are winning. What's the next step? What now? Okay, whores are winning. What now? What can we as so-called black males do to be in a winning position? The hoes is kicking our ass. Really, the system is kicking the so-called black male's ass. All right? Society is kicking the so-called black male's ass. But since we talking about hoes is winning, what have you, my whole point of that stream is that, okay, hoes are winning. Okay, now what can males do? What can the so-called black male do, or males in general do, to put themselves in a winning position? Because hoes are winning, but males as a collective is losing. Okay, now since we accept that, what now? What next? So that's how you move the needle. You move the needle by saying, okay, now that we agree that this is happening, what are we going to do about it? What are the things that we can do about it to advance ourselves? What next? That's how you move the needle. That's how you move the threshold. And that's what I was trying to do within that live stream. But what happened? The needle did not move a bit because people kept on derailing the damn conversation. And once again, I blame a lot of that on me because I was the host of that panel and I have full control over that panel. And I did not use my full control to say, hey, you niggas, shut the fuck up and let's get back to the topic. And I should have done that. So that's a learning lesson for me. But the needle have not moved. And I was trying to move the needle within the conversation. That's the problem with the entire space. You see, that live stream, that of course, like I said in my communities tabs, I took it down. But that live stream is an example of the overall so-called Black manosphere. We don't move the needle. We don't focus on the future. We don't focus on taking the next step to actually build a better future for the male collective, especially the so-called Black male collective. We don't do that. And me being that I'm a solution-oriented individual, I think about that. I think about the next step and the next level. I think about moving the needle. I think about moving the threshold. I think about taking the next step. For almost 2 weeks now, right? Even still, the space is still focused on whether or not hoes are winning. I mean, you still focus on it right now. You're not focused on the next step. It's like I'm the type of person, once I see a chess move, I'm focused on the next 10 moves. I'm focused on the next 10 moves. You know what I'm saying? I'm focused on the next play. All right. When we on first down, okay, we orchestrate first down, and whatever happened on first down, whether we advance on yards, whether we convert whether we convert or not, once that first down is over, I'm focused on what we're going to do in the second down. What now? Okay, it's 1st and 10, right? It's 1st and 10. We run the ball, right? We run the ball. The running back, advanced 4 yards, right? And got tackled. Right? So now it's second and 6. 2nd and 6. But you know what? The ref called a holding call on the offense, right? The offense was holding. What's that? That's a what? A 5-yard penalty? That's a 5-yard penalty. So it's 5-yard penalty. So it's second and, so that would be what? 2nd and 11, right? So then you got the teammates. So what the Black manosphere, what they're on right now is that the teammates are all complaining about the holding call. Oh man, you shouldn't do that, man. Why you holding? Oh no, the ref was cheating. No, the ref was cheating. We wasn't holding. I wasn't holding. That's not true. Oh no, you blah 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 blah. I'm sitting back like, fuck that. Whatever it is, whether you think it's fair and unfair or not, guess what? We're 2nd and 11. All right. So we're 2nd and 11. So instead of complaining about it, let's focus on converting. We're 2nd and 11. We can still win this fucking game. So instead of complaining about the ref's call, let's focus on beating the team. We can still win this game. That's me. Let's move the fucking needle. Niggas is not moving the goddamn needle. I mean, how could we stay stuck on some mediocre conversation for almost 2 weeks? Are hoes winning? By now, we should be focused on the next step, on the elevation of that topic. And the elevation is What can males do to put themselves in a winning position? We should be about elevation, not stagnation. And once again, that's what I was trying to do on the live stream last night, or you might as well say 2 nights ago. Now that it's December 3rd. And what did I see? I saw derailment and stagnation. Stagnation. The point of the video was male focused. The point of the video was to focus on what males should do, and then it got derailed to talking about what females are doing. What does that have to do with males being in a winning position? We could complain all day long about what a certain sect of females are doing and how a certain sect of females are behaving. That's not gonna stop them females from doing what they doing. You know, what did Ty City Ramil say? Explain, shame, and blame. Right? Explain, shame, and blame, or explain, blame, and shame. I forgot the order that they say, but you know, if you guys know the order, you could please type it in the chat. Explain, blame, and shame. I believe that's the order. Explain, blame, and shame. You could explain, blame, and shame all you want. The fact of the matter is that that's not going to elevate. Trying to explain, shame, and blame the things that whores are doing is not going to elevate the status of males, especially so-called black males in this society. That's not moving things forward. Sitting there being stuck on explaining, blaming, and shaming females is not moving the needle forward when it comes to elevating the conditions of males, especially so-called black males in society. Instead, what it does, it negates the needs of males. The so-called black manosphere within the past 5 years have done a great job neglecting the needs of so-called black males. They've done a great job neglecting solving the economic crisis that black males go through collectively, as a collective, the unemployment crisis, which ties into the economic crisis that so-called black males go through as a collective, the education crisis that so-called black males go through as a collective, the crime/incarceration crisis that so-called black males go through as a collective, the health crisis that so-called black males go through as a collective. We negate all these things we negated all of these things within the past 5 years because we're so focused on what females are doing. Females, 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 females. I'm not having that shit again in my platform. All right? I'm not having that shit again. These females, they have their own, or they have plenty of organizations that's focused on whatever the fuck they're doing. Like I said, you got Black Girl Magic, Black Girl Rock, Black Lesbians Club, Black Lives Matter, you know, as far as so-called black females are concerned, and all that other dumbass, Alpha Psi Phi, I don't know what, Kappa Alpha, I don't know, whatever, all these fucking organizations. No disrespect to you fraternity guys, man. No disrespect, but all these other fucking organizations that these so-called black females have, they have a structure focusing on them and their needs. So why are we adding on and helping to expand the focus on females when the group that we really need to focus on is on the males, especially the so-called black males? Now, I read an article. Right. Now that blame, shame, and explain has been exposed, we can leave the women out of the conversation. There's no reason for this space to repeat itself again. Exactly. And it should have been left out of the conversation a long time ago. But what I was going to say, something. It was something else. Oh yeah, I read an article. I think I made a video about it when it came to the education of boys, right? Because I speak about how the male students in America's public education system throughout the racial spectrum are performing worse than America's female students. And I read this one article. I don't know if I read it online because I've read several articles, but one article I was reading was when it comes to the education crisis of boys, this one female, she's a female teacher, and she stated the one of the main reasons, because there's several reasons when it comes to the education crisis of boys, but one main reason that she discussed was that, okay, that females in America have plenty of organizations dedicated to advance the education of its girls, but males have none. Males have none. There are no organizations out there dedicated to helping to advance the education of its male students in America. And that shit fucked me up when I heard that shit. That shit fucked me up. That shit fucked me up. Because it lets me know that as much as the so-called black men say are focusing on hoes winning, they don't realize that the reason why hoes are winning is because there have been and are plenty of organizations dedicated to make sure that females in general win. But we as males, we are fucking negligent when it comes to males winning. We're negligent in that. So focus on talk about hoes are winning, hoes are winning. Of course, hoes are winning. They've been winning for a very long time. But once again, what's the next step? What is the next step that males have to take to put themselves in a winning position? Now that we recognize that hoes are winning, what can males do to put themselves in a winning position? This is how you move the needle forward. You have to move the needle. You can't just keep the needle stagnant at just one position. You have to move it. If you want any progress to be done, you have to move the needle. You have to elevate the conversation, elevate the mindset of the collective of people that we're trying to help save. And that's what's missing within this current version of the so-called black manosphere, with a few exceptions. That is, that we're missing that elevation. We're missing that forward movement. We're missing that forward progress. We just stay stagnant at some fucking base level conversation. Hoes are winning. Hoes are winning. And you know what? If people disagree about whores winning in this society, that's fine. That's fine. I don't even have a problem with people disagreeing with that. But like I said before, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but like I always say, repetition is the mother of knowledge, which is why it's necessary for one to keep repeating themselves so people can remember something. Because in this society, a lot of people have bad short-term memory. They easily forget shit, which is why it's necessary to keep repeating the same thing over and over again so people won't forget, right? So, like I said, regardless if you agree or disagree with the fact that whores are winning in this society, but one thing that the so-called black men can all agree on is that the black male collective is losing. If you think whores are winning, fine. But you know that the so-called black male collective is losing. If you think whores are not winning and that they're losing, that's fine. But guess what? If whores are losing, then the so-called black male collective is losing even more. So once again, whichever other group, if that other demographic is winning or losing, the fact of the matter is we're losing. So what can we do to put ourselves in a winning position? How can we win the game? It's the fourth quarter, right? It's the fourth quarter. It's 12 minutes left. Well, it's the beginning of the fourth quarter, right? The beginning of the fourth quarter, that means there's 12 minutes left in the quarter, right? 12 minutes left in the whole game. Wait, how many minutes in the quarter? Is 12 minutes, right? Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in basketball, right? So it's 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You know, Team Black Man is down by 20 points. We're down by 20 points. And instead of us huddling and finding strategies on how we could win this game and solve this 20-point deficit, we're sitting there complaining or debating as far as whether or not the other team is winning. It sounds stupid. And really, instead of sitting there being focused on whether or not hoes are winning, we should be focusing on the actual system that we're living under. Because it's the system that we're living under that put hoes in the position to win based upon the laws that has been established over time, being that the different waves of feminism thanks to the system, have put the female collective in a position to gain more and more power. All right. And also, and as a result, what happens is that since the system was since feminism have given, since different ways of, since the different ways of feminism have given females more and more power in society, society got so focused on how to adjust to make things easier for females that it neglected the male collective. Thus, the male collective ended up having less and less power in society. So, thus, the intent of the first and second waves of feminism, which was for males and for females to be as equal as males, did not happen. What ended up happening is that females started gaining an advantage within the system over males. And thus, we live in that society right now. What are we going to do about that? What are some things we can do to fix that? That's my mindset, especially when it comes to so-called black males. Because out of the entire male collective, so-called black males are performing the worst in economically, politically, and socially. We're doing the worst. We are the most marginalized. So how can we solve that? How can we alleviate these issues? That's what we should be focusing on. You guys are focusing on some hoes. Fuck out of here. And that's why hoes are winning. Hoes are winning because we've abandoned ourselves. We've neglected the male collective. So going back to me speaking about my prior live stream, once again, like I said before, that was an example of how we're neglecting the males because here I have had a live stream that the intended purpose of that live stream was to solve the issues of males, but then that topic was derailed into talking about females, and that becomes draining and annoying because when a lot of people in this space, whenever they do explain blame and shame on females, they explain blame on shame on shit that they have no control over. Like you don't have no control over what females spend their money on and the types of items that they buy. That's the last of my worries. When you got a collective of so-called black males that are literally serving as as slaves to America's prison industrial system or America's prison industrial complex. The last thing we should worry about is what females spend their money on. The fuck? Can we focus on black males spending their money on lobbying politicians to help change policies that could benefit us? Can we focus on that? I mean, do you understand that legally, according to the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, that when you're incarcerated, you're literally considered a slave? Let me post a screenshot. Let me. Okay, let me show you guys this shit. It's like we love talking about slavery. That's something that so-called black people love talking about. Slavery. Not realizing that slavery still exists to this day. The Constitution of the United States of America, written in 1789, right? Amendment number 13, 13th Amendment, Section 1 says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. right? Which means that slavery or involuntary servitude should be illegal with exception to a person who is in prison as punishment for a crime. So within that law, within the Constitution, when you're in prison, or what the 13th Amendment says, except as punishment for a crime whereof. So if you're punished for a crime and been convicted, you are legally a slave. So when you have hordes and hordes of so-called black males serving as prisoners within America's prison industrial complex, right? They're basically serving as slaves. So so-called the so-called enslavement of the enslavement of so-called black people did not disappear. It just transferred from the cotton fields to America's prisons. And within the environment, especially within the inner cities of the United States of America, where we have levels of poverty, right? Because a lot of America's black neighborhoods have poverty. And don't get me wrong, they're all so-called black middle class neighborhoods. They're all so-called black upscale upper middle class neighborhoods. But along with that, there are a lot of, unfortunately, poor black neighborhoods, right? Where there's a lot of poverty. There's low education. There's broken families, which that serves as a these things serve as a recipe to have black America's boys who grew up in that type of environment to enter a life of crime. Which then results, or which can most likely result, on that same black child entering the life of crime to go to prison, thus being legally being a slave. See how this shit is set. See how this shit is set up. Yeah, school to prison pipeline. School to prison pipeline. This shit is a setup. Yeah, school to prison pipeline. A faulty education system mixed with a dysfunctional dysfunctional household mixed with poverty equals a person increasing their chances of living a life of crime, which thus increases the chance of a person ending up in prison being legally a slave. And this is a setup that society have created for a lot of America's African American boys. And instead of focusing on how we can alleviate or solve this issue, we're out here focusing on what females are spending their money on, what females are buying, what females putting on top of their heads. And once again, this is coming from someone that hates weaves. I hate weaves on females. I hate when females wear these lace front wigs or these what tracks or these micro braids, or back in the day we called them dookie braids. I do not find so-called black females or any female wearing any type of fake hair to be attractive at all. But once again, at the same time, I'm objective and realistic enough to know that there are bigger that as black males we have bigger fishes to fry than some female putting some shit on top of a fucking head. So why the fuck are we sitting there focused on some damn aesthetics or whatever shit that females are spending their money on? You know, when you when we have something as serious as the black male incarceration rates. You know, let me show you this shit. You share the screen. Now, this is according to Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, it says that according to the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics, in 2018, black males accounted for 34% of the total male prison population, white males 29%, and Hispanic males 24%. White females comprised 47% of the prison population in comparison to black females. Oh, wow. So black males account for 34% of the total male prison population. Now, once again, the so-called black male, like adult black males, I think adult black males we count for like what, 9% of America's population. The so-called black we count as like what percentage? Like 9%, something like that of America's population, but count as 34% of the male prison population. That's fucked up. So we have to focus on that. And once again, this is coming from someone who hates weaves. Someone that can't stand hoes. But at the same time, I understand that there are bigger things that we must worry about. But you know what? I've been speaking for way too long. I've been speaking for a little bit too long. I'm about to leave. Oh damn, it's 1:30 a.m. It's 1:30 in the morning. Yeah, I gotta go to bed. So I gotta get the hell out of here. But listen, we have to move the needle. We have to move the needle. We can't be stuck in having conversations in which the needle does not move. That's all